Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today is officially the first video of what we're just going to call like the V2 upgrade package for the car. As some of you may know, at Global Time Attack Finals we had an engine failure which did in quite a bit of damage. Not exactly sure what, but we had a broken rocker, broken valve spring. It's cracked in the valve cover because this pushed all the way out. The dipstick brass guide pushed all the way out too. There's also a broken valve in there, so there's quite a lot of things that went wrong with the car. Which one of them went wrong first is what we're going to try and find out today. So the plan was always to pull the engine out after GTA Finals. We had quite a bit of upgrades planned before Kodo in regards to new fenders, maybe some little bit of engine upgrades, basically again like an entire V2 package for the car. So this is kind of the official start for it. Sad part is this engine will not be going back in. We have a different engine, different platform that we're going to kind of put in. Some of you guys are probably going to go with the K series, but we'll cover more of that in a later video. But today's video is getting the engine out, figuring out what exactly went wrong and caused the failure that we had, because the car was running great and then it just wasn't. So it was something quick, something simple, but we're going to dive right into it and figure out what happened. Oh boy, that is not oil. So, I mean, that explains why when I just went to drain the coolant, there really wasn't any. So, I think we know one of the issues that happened at some point. Yeah, that's a vanilla milkshake for sure. All right, well, start pulling this stuff off after draining the oil, and that's in the wastegate tube. Those are little chunks of metal, which means this guy has probably got some damage. Not stoked on that one. I was hoping I would have got lucky, but I don't know, if the spark plug is destroyed and the valve is broken on the exhaust side, something probably went out the exhaust side. So turbo's in the way of that. So, all right, we'll keep digging. Well, that's a chunk of a missing wheel. It's kind of hard to see, sort of, but you can see back there too. I'll try and rotate this from the front, but there's some missing pieces. There's some missing pieces. There's a lot of missing pieces, basically. Yeah. All right, well, this still feels fantastic. So I don't know what damage is done to it. I mean, you can't see it in the camera, but there's like some chunks of the wheel. It looks like they're kind of welded to the inside. So I'm sure this hot side is done for. But different hot side and a few other things, maybe to a smaller one to help with a spool. So it'll go back to Comp Turbo. They've been more than helpful with the turbo situation with the car and helped me kind of experiment with a few different things. And this water-cooled version has been amazing. And I, again, really like the fact that I'm running no oil lines. So that means none of this chunked up stuff could have possibly gotten to the oil system, which is fantastic. I mean, that's a moot point because, a head gasket or something blew based off of the freaking milkshake that came out of the oil, out of the oil pan. So, but yeah, so this is, I guess, part of the process of diagnosing what the heck happened. So, all right, keep digging some more. Exciting new development. This just came out of the turbo. This is obviously metal. So I don't know. I mean, that's chunks of the ink in a wheel, maybe part of the spark plug, whatever, valve pieces, but that is a lot of freaking metal. Great. All right, intake manifold is off. That actually looks pretty decent, but in a look inside the actual cylinder head, that is part of a valve. This one has got that's a chunk of metal or something right there. You want to see, I'll try and get a better angle here. That's a valve. It's extremely bent, and I can't really get at cylinder 4, but cylinder 4 is the only one that looks halfway decent. But yeah, that's a valve. There's chunks of valve. That is for sure a valve. I'll do a better job showing this once we get it out of the car, but I think any chance of like salvaging parts for this engine for sale are pretty much done. So yeah, makes it easy, I guess. Everything can just get pitched. So all right, back at it. All right, so engine is out of the car. So much more room without the engine in here. It's always kind of a surprise, especially without the radiators and stuff. But sadly, it looks like the only thing that might be able to be saved is the turbo manifolds, which is fine. These have, seen better days. These are pretty much kind of junk, so I wouldn't use these for anything. But valve cover's cracked. Turbo needs a rebuild if I'm lucky. Oil cooler probably got whatever stuff was in the oil through it, so that's not a good idea. Intercooler had a bunch of water and maybe something else in it. Radiator, again, maybe it could be cleaned, but it's almost not even worth it. The engine mounts are probably still good, so that's a plus. And then we're about to start tearing this down, which I showed before. That's 2 valves on one side, and then the rest, whatever mysteries they hold, but this had some coolant or something else in it. It's just destroyed. So pull the head off and dig a little deeper. All right, cam's off. And everything actually looks relatively good. The cams actually look pretty good as well. It's not really a lot of scoring. Might need a little bit of polishing or something, but those actually seem totally usable, as well as the cam cap. So those parts didn't sustain too much damage. You can get a better look at the broken valve there. You can see the broken valve pieces, keepers, a few other things, but pull the head off and see the real damage. I can take if we don't. All right, moment of truth. Get the head to come off. Oh boy. That is a hole for sure. That is the remains of a lot of stuff. Jesus.
Should I twist this over?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, see if you can tilt it up.
I'll go a little bit more. Just gonna start spilling.
Oh God. Yeah, it's destroyed. All right, we'll flip that on the table. All right, so closer inspection. That's obviously a hole all the way through. And then you see this little tiny crack right there. Go ahead and rotate this. And the crack becomes 2. Extended all the way down on both sides. And it's visibly not round. The same thing with this one, just visibly not round anymore. So I'm assuming the block cracked at some point. Coolant got in there, and then there was enough coolant in there that the compression went to whatever these are, 11.5 to or 12 to 1 to 18 to 1 or so. And that's what blew out the valves, blew out everything, essentially hydrolocked probably a cylinder while moving. But these other walls are, scratched up and everything too. There's a lot of metal in here from the bottom of the head. So we'll take a look at that next. All right, so here's the head flipped over. Those 2 valves are now dating. You can see broken stems. This is very catastrophic failure, which sent everything back into the intake and then back into the block and then back into the head and everything. Like this one's, the seat's broken out. There's really nothing. So the weird thing is there's really no sign of like head gasket failure anywhere. Like nothing major. I looked at the head gasket and it actually looks pretty good. So I'm not sure, like maybe the head lifted or whatever, but I mean, the valve broke, something broke, and then all of this happened. So, but because it's in all of the cylinders, everything is pretty much toast. The block is not savable of any kind. Everything would need to be kind of gone through in regards to oil stuff or anything. So, only thing salvageable might be the oil pan at this point. So, we'll take that out at some point and just kind of go from there. But this is the end of the F series.